Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Photography Mindset Podcast. First episode after the Chris Burkhardt episode last week, and I'm still coming off of that. That was a good, I really liked that episode. I don't know about you.
Yeah, Chris is an awesome speaker, I feel like, and very passionate about what he does and clearly loves it. So it was great to have him on and definitely fun.
Carrying that energy forwards, huh?
Trying to. I don't know if I can keep up.
You said you've been super busy with tons of photography stuff. What are you working on right now before we get into the episode today?
Sure. Yeah, this is a busy week. Last week was a busy week. I like getting things off my plate. So I worked really hard last week to do a brunch sort of capture photography and videography, creating video and some photos and getting that off my plate as fast as I could, which was it was a hustle. I was pretty much working any minute I had from that Sunday brunch and had everything turned in by the next Sunday, which was definitely a push, but that was good. Coming up this week now, I had a financial shoot for some interviews, bio interviews for people that work at a financial company. That was great. Pretty straightforward and easy. 2 cameras going, like one of me. So 2 cameras going, sound, microphone, like all that stuff. So a bit to keep track of, lighting. But I think it went pretty smoothly, knock on wood. And I uploaded and backed up all those files today. Tomorrow, I have a really fun gig. I'm joining Nooch on a project. I can't really speak about it, but it's cool. Lame. I know. But that will be super fun. Gotta get that done. And then there is a wildlife thing. I got out the other morning for sunrise.
You actually got out after you got out and sat in the woods? We've been talking about this, needing to do this.
Yeah, sunrise. So 5:20, I think the alarm went off, and I met Matt Patterson, who's going with us to Alaska. Cool. He knew he thought he knew where a couple of wood ducks were hanging out and nesting, and we went down to this marsh, probably about a mile hike, maybe a little bit more, and sat there for a while, and they showed up. Nothing crazy in terms of photos, but I've never seen a wood duck before, so that was neat for me, and I just can't wait to go back. I was going to go back tonight, and then I was like, we're recording though. So
yeah, you swore at me. You didn't want to. Do we have to? I'm just kidding. You didn't say that.
But yeah, it was super nice. I wrote you and Mike in our little group chat just saying like, man, it's been a minute since I've been out here, especially for sunrise, and just kind of relaxing. It was very peaceful, very nice. Needed it.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Good for you. I need to get after that. Before I talk about me, my question for you is, when you have a ton of stuff on your plate and a tight deadline, do you change your workflow at all? Not in terms of necessarily quality, but I'm curious to know if there's a serious time pressure, if the way you execute changes, because that may be helpful to know if it's been helpful for you. For some people
that's interesting.
Or is it just more time?
Well, yes, but there's I've talked about this before, sort of a juggling in my mind of priorities, and I do this for the client. So, for example, this was an Easter brunch, and they're like, I know it's a quick turnaround, and you did this short notice anyways, but is there any, like, what's the time frame? They're putting me on a rush, essentially, saying we would love to market for Mother's Day brunch, which is in next weekend. So it's about a 2-week turnaround, right?
Well, it'll be this weekend when this airs, I think.
True. This weekend. Yes, you're correct. This weekend when this airs. So in my mind, I was like, okay, what's the most important stuff and the fastest stuff that I can get out? So what I did was knock out all the photos, or a good amount of the photos, and say, here you go with photos. This was pretty straightforward in terms of same lighting for every shot. It's indoors. Let me blast out some photos. Here, you can at least use these
questions that are maybe supplementary to this conversation. Yeah. So do you prioritize? It's interesting the way people prioritize and structure things to me. It almost sounded like I'm going to do the easiest thing first. That may not be the most impactful or thing that they want, but maybe it gives you some momentum moving into the other things you have to do. I think that's an interesting strategy sometimes. Just get the easiest thing done first so that so that you don't feel like overwhelmed jumping into the most difficult thing immediately. Right?
Yeah, I agree. And I said, you know, money for what it's going to cost. Like, what's the phrase I'm trying to here? I don't know what I'm trying to say, but to get your most value out of the potential of video or photos or reels or whatever it may be, I wanted to get those people the things fast, and which things can I get them the fastest and which could they utilize? So I could get you photos pretty quickly, and then you can make posters. You can bring them into Canva. You can do it. You can post for the next 10 days every day about your next Mother's Day
While I'm
brunch.
working on the other thing, as opposed to getting after the video, it taking a while, and they still have nothing during the waiting period. Very smart.
Yes. So then they're waiting for a week for me to hand a video, and God knows if they even like it, right? And then you have nothing. So I got them something, and it's also a tester too. Like, do you like my editing style? Do you like the vibe of this? Because the video is probably going to be somewhat similar. It's my eye, and I didn't put a ton of work into it. So that was
I like that.
that
Get them
was
something while you're doing the other thing.
Yep. And then my next process for them was I like giving long form video in the sense that, hey, I took all these clips for the most part, like here's a 2 minute straight, 3 minute straight of all the good sections of every little clip in no particular order, no rhyme or reason, however I shot it, however I put it into the camera. I'm going to color grade it, and I'm going to just give you a 3-minute video of clips. Your social media person, you're paying them to do stuff also, can now take this apart. Please don't put my name on it. It's yours. They can edit it. They can make reels. They can do whatever they want with it. Go ahead. Now, again, you are paying someone in this situation. You're paying someone to do that sort of marketing. They have a great set of reels where you can do that. And then my last move is like, in this case, I was like, I'm going to do one really fancy edited reel the best that I can. And I then do that and say, this came from all those clips just to show you what's possible. And then hand that over final. And then if you want to use that,
your skill versus their social person. And then maybe they're like, oh man, yours was way better. So we'll pay you in the future to do finished edited videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also like your strategy of, you haven't hired me necessarily off the bat to be an editor. So I'm not going to automatically edit all these things. I'm going to film stuff, hand it to you. Most people in a social media role know how to chop things up, and they can make something, maybe potentially even better than yours. Who knows?
Yeah. And my reel was
I like the idea of not necessarily. I used to do this a lot, whereas I'll make you finished reels. Well, I can just hand you the clips.
Yep. Yeah, and it feels way easier. I got to be honest. Like this client had a budget. I asked for a price for what I thought would be good deliverables. They're like, that's a bit much. Here's our budget. And I was like, okay, then I'm going to do it this way. I'll get you a bunch of photos. I'll get you this long clip. And depending on how much time this all takes, I might be able to edit one of them. And that was kind of my above and beyond. Like here, I paid some due to do this, this edited one, but overall, like what you paid me for, I'm just going to kind of give you some stuff, and you're paying someone else to do the marketing, and that's fine. Like hands off. I got you the content. I wasn't too attached to it, and let's move on.
It's a nice way to be solution oriented without giving up on the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Figure out a way. Definitely.
In a sense, they paid like my day rate in a way, but I wasn't too worried about the licensing and ROI and how are you using it. I just kind of was like, you're paying me to film and edit some photos, and here you go.
Yeah, you're a cameraman.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got an interesting email.
Yeah, if I could finish before you get into that subject. What I did learn though, here's another like nice tip with just different kinds of clients. Like there's Airbnb clients, there's product photography, there's that. But if you're at like a brunch, what I noticed immediately was, oh, they have this company coming in and setting up the dessert table. They have this bartender company coming in and doing the drinks and the mimosas and this and that. So as I'm there, I was picking cards, their business cards. And then after the fact, reached out and was like, hey, I took a lot of photos for you to use. Like I would love to talk about licensing and usage. I have all these photos from this brunch that they paid me for on their property.
Sorry, who's they? Is it the Airbnb?
The main client for the brunch.
Okay. Main client for the brunch. Help me understand. I'm not really understanding.
It's a big banquet hall.
Oh, okay.
And then they call in Seth's Desserts to do a dessert table.
That's desserts. What do you think I'd make? Something with maple syrup.
Lickety splits. Straight up table of lickety splits. And then they call in my dog's bartending service. He drinks a lot. I don't know what to tell you. And then I go around and grab Seth's business card and go, hey, while I was doing that brunch, you may have seen me. I took about 20 photos of your dessert table. I could put a package together. I also have some B-roll and footage. If you'd like any sort of video, let me know. You can just pretty much have that for usage and licensing fees versus paying me to edit it, because I had to edit it anyways. Already got paid to be there. So this is an opportunity where I might be more expensive than you'd want to get a good package for very cheap. And in that scenario, they took me up on that. So it worked.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to do like a vending, like where there's vendors and lots of people at a place that have different skills. And
yeah. You got me thinking there's a flea market every year near Haley's folks' house in a place called Grand Bend. And I go every now and then. It's fun to walk around and see the knickknacks and all the cool stuff. But there's so many food trucks.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make sure I bring my camera this summer and just snap a ton of stuff, because there's really cool meals that people make.
Absolutely.
So thanks for the inspiration there.
Yeah.
You had a little fizzled in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I got an interesting email this past weekend. It was from a business development manager who I guess found some of the work that I had done for a client in the area that his business support center is set up. And so emailed me and referenced some of the work that I had done and said, where are you located in the area and what kind of packages do you offer? And I was like, holy shit, how have I not been reaching out to business development managers of just counties that are nearby, as opposed to just going and trying to build connections and pitch individual businesses.
Yeah.
No, it was like, what? Why have I not been doing this sooner? Because I mean, for people who don't know, a business development manager at a business support center is someone who is directly in charge of helping provide new businesses and entrepreneurs in an area the assets they need to thrive as a business. So, and quite obviously, some of the things that new businesses with potentially capital and a lot of funding need is visual assets. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you can throw out a net and catch a ton of fish, as opposed to hunting fish with a spear, if you can make a good connection with business development managers at support centers, at business support centers. And I was just like, maybe that's just a way more efficient way of going about things. So I don't know. I wanted to share that just because, everybody listening likely is in a different county. Going back to that, there's plenty of cake for everyone to eat, and it could be a very lucrative opportunity for you, especially if you already have the portfolio and professional website. I mean, it should be now you're just talking about people skills.
Yeah. And it solves a problem for that person to, anyone that brings up marketing or whatnot. I mean, you could have a package system with him. Where you're just kind of going through what you could offer, what you could give, what your skills are. And then he has it in his back of his mind or her mind. And they're just ready when anyone brings it up to be like, I've got a guy for you. His name's Seth. He's local.
Exactly.
Well
I
priced.
couldn't. He's the best or the second best?
He's well priced, and
I think
he
he's
is
the second
Canadian
best.
though.
Probably his second
So
best. He's
Canadian, which is downside,
an
but
entire county apparently to you guys.
yeah,
So the interesting thing is, I was like, I didn't know how to answer because I'm not going to tell you via email the prices for certain packages. Maybe that's not a smart move, but I know from experience that everything is so different. Client needs are so different. Driving times are so different. The budgets are so different. It just like doesn't make sense for me anymore to offer packages because I feel like you put it in somebody's mind about how much something is going to cost when it can sway in either direction so dramatically. So I just don't like doing that. So I explained that the best I could. But then rather than just leaving it at that, I was like, here's the things I do, as you may or may not have seen from whatever work, you've seen of mine. For example, aerial drone video, interview style videos for websites, etc. So like they at least know what I'm doing. I don't like the idea of just saying, sorry, I don't do packages and then not not supplementing that with anything else. Right. The other thing is I am planning on, so I did email back, but I'm planning on phoning. I think phoning people is so much more impactful. I think you stand out so much more when you ring someone, especially when their contact information, their cell phone or their work phone is readily available online. I think it's just difficult to forget somebody in this day and age who rings you up because it's so uncommon.
Yeah, it truly is. That's a good point.
It's scary too, right? It's scary going on the phone and talking to strangers for a lot of people and talking about yourself and what you can offer. But I feel like you imprint on people's memories so much more.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's going to
I
be.
implore people to phone. Try it.
Yeah, you're automatically going to be 1 in 100 that does it.
Easily.
Easily.
And especially if it's not cold, like you already have the email or a warm connection.
Yeah.
Phone
home.
Phone home. That's what Mr. E.T. said.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's cool.
It might be helpful and might be more efficient of a way to go about things. It seems like a duh moment, but sometimes those things pass you over, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you get so laser focused and zeroed in on got to pitch companies. Well, like maybe pitch the middleman, build a relationship with the middleman.
Right. For sure. I like that. Good stuff.
All right. Some meat and potatoes. You wanted to talk about?
I want to talk about one gorilla versus 100 men. Who wins?
This is the most insane thing I've been. This is not actually what we want to talk about, but Aaron's being silly. I've 100 men versus one gorilla. 100 men would win.
Yeah.
Hands down. Not even. I think 50 would win.
Yeah.
I think 10 would win.
10?
10.
Whew.
I think 10 would win.
You need strategy. You need
strategy, and that's our biggest.
4 on each arm. Or just restrain. How are we going to restrain?
I don't think I think everyone's first thought is to go into combat. I think you exhaust. That's how we hunted a lot of animals for hundreds of thousands of years. We ran them to exhaustion.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say on that.
Yeah. Anyway, what a silly thing that's going around the internet.
If 100 men could beat one gorilla.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that's debatable. I mean, people might think I'm insane, but I don't know.
And then there's video mock-ups of it or like computer generated things that are hilarious.
There's apparently there's African tribes that have hunted lions before.
Yeah.
Like one guy with a stick and a spear. I guess the thing was you're not allowed weapons though.
Yeah, no tools, no weapons.
Still, one man versus a lion's pretty damn impressive too.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Anyways, what do we really want to talk about today?
Well, we're heading into TPM retreat season. We are about 2 months away, maybe a tad more than that. We're going to Alaska again, and I thought we were just talking casually before we press record about going into that trip. when you're going to somewhere a second time, or maybe a third time or fourth time, how do you view what you want to accomplish on that trip artistically, photograph wise, video
Very good
wise,
question.
compared to the year before or the time before? And are they individual events? Are they put together as one portfolio where you're trying to kind of weigh what happened the first time and adjust for the second time? Do you want to perfect certain shots? Do you want to add more shots to your repertoire or your portfolio of that trip? And I was just curious for you personally. I'm curious specifically going into Alaska. What have you thought about your focus or shots you really want to get, or anything along those lines?
Well, the first thing I'll say is I think there's a large number of people who may not even ask those questions, who may just wing trips every single time, and that's fine. But I think there's a lot of value in asking these questions. Okay, I've been a first time. I've been once before. What did I accomplish on that trip? What did I really feel I built a portfolio around? Was it the landscapes? Was it the wildlife? And what do I want to do this time? I think that probably many people just don't ask those questions or don't do an assessment of their portfolio before leaving. The other thing I'll say is you don't have to do that. You can just go wing a trip and shoot the
Yeah.
same things that brought you tons of joy, and you can build a folder of like 500 moose photographs if that's what your thing is, right? So I kind of wanted to start with that you don't have to be so focused on building a portfolio when you go. But of course, maybe a lot of people listening are interested in that because it's just maybe the nature of the show and both of our personalities, right? So
Mhm.
I know that before we talk about Alaska, I'll use Jasper as an example because I've been 4 times, and each time I thought I've already been, it won't be as exciting. It won't be as exciting. And I've been wrong every single time because there's always something new. It's impossible to explore everything, which is frustrating the first few times, or the first time you go somewhere. It's like, I'm not going to be able to really get everything unless I stayed forever. But it's also exciting then when you go back.
Mhm.
So for example, when I went to Jasper, it was the second or third time. First of all, I like to try and change seasons if you can,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
there's a lot of different things that happen. I like winter a lot as a typical Canadian. But one of the times I went, I'm like, I really want to get a moose and calf in the snow.
Mhm.
I really want to get an elk on a evergreen backdrop. Just being much more specific with what I wanted, almost a shot list. Whereas when I go the first time, it's a buffet. I'm just excited and happy to shoot whatever. So thinking about last year and just kind of assessing what I came home with, which I was excited about everything, decided I want more eagles in flight because most of the eagles were, just on logs, really cool shots. But I was like,
Mhm.
you don't realize these things till you're going through your portfolio, right? You're like, man, I wish I had more of those. More bears not in water swimming because we were in a river. Would love
Yeah.
more bears just kind of on land doing their thing. So that's it for me. I'm so grateful to get everything and anything
Yeah.
that now the second time I can start being, okay, there's an opportunity for this. There's an opportunity for that. Let's focus more on those things and
Yeah.
put ourselves in positions to give ourselves the best chance of that.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, for sure. Similarly, that's hard to say when I'm tired after a day's work. A couple of things. I've gone between remembering like, oh, we're doing a few different things. That's going to be cool. And this sort of just thought process of maybe I'll put the camera down a bit more this time
Interesting.
and
In what
try
scenarios would
to
you put it down?
enjoy a tad more. I think more like there's beautiful hikes but sometimes there's generic hikes where it's like, this is a beautiful scene, but I don't know if it makes the most spectacular photo. if that makes sense. And being
Those are always
okay with
heartbreakers.
what's that?
Those are heartbreakers when it's
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful to the eye, but it's just not translating to camera.
Right.
We all know those. You're like, why
Yeah.
isn't this working?
It's usually at the top of
It's one of life's
mountains
greatest
for me.
questions. I haven't figured
Yeah.
out why.
Top of mountains, I think like looking down, it just doesn't look as impressive.
I
You're like,
think with vast landscapes, a lot of the time, if there's
mhm.
no way to get the scale or perspective, it's underwhelming.
Yes, definitely. And I think that's the key usually when you're like at the top of a hillside or the top of a mountain and you're looking down to like other peaks. It's like it just becomes washed
Flat.
out, flat. Uh, so maybe evaluating those moments of like, I'm just going to have a beautiful hike and be out in nature. And of course, that's when like an amazing animal encounter will happen, but it is what it is. Like you said about the bears, we're doing a different excursion. So we're going to be on land, knock on wood with all the weather and everything, but on land and having different looks at that. So I think that's going to be unbelievable. And then what kept bothering me about our boat tour, which I loved, but we were pretty high up. It was a big boat. We are like 15 feet in the air, I would say, and really
Shoot
kind of
down.
shooting down at otters, shooting down at puffins, shooting down at whales. I'm excited for this. We're doing a private charter, which is a smaller boat. So we'll really be able, I mean, we're basically standing on the level of the water. So I feel like we'll really be able to lean on the rail and have a much lower vantage point. Like
I thought you
otters
were
are
going to say
so,
throw up.
well, maybe otters, those sea otters are so cute. And I would love to be able to get like that, just almost eye level shot
Yeah.
of like the continuing depth of field and with water and that sort of look is much different than kind of looking down at them.
Yeah. So
So
let me ask you this. What kind of elements are you trying to make sure are different the second or third or fourth time around visiting a place or on a similar scene? And how do you think do you think people should kind of plan and structure how to build a well-rounded portfolio? You know, what would your advice be for people visiting a place a second time or a third time?
I think you have shots in mind when you're going somewhere, and hopefully you get some of them. There is a shot with an FPV drone I really wanted last time, which was like just you hiking through that sort of vast Alaskan wilderness at the tops of small mountains and going through this landscape. We didn't do that hike where I wanted to do that based on some of the photos I saw. So we never got that shot. And I feel like that shot would be cool just for us to have. So that's in my mind. So things that I've missed or didn't execute are things that like, oh, I do want to get that this time. Then otherwise, when you're going through your portfolio and editing, we've all been there as well. There's like an excitement. Like I just photographed wood ducks for the first time. They were not great photos, but I'm super excited that I saw wood ducks, and I will probably edit some. But I do know I would love to go back and up my photography game with that subject a bit more, and things like on the boat.
Okay, so what does that entail?
What that entails
Specifically that
is
scenario.
specific positions or a little bit more time. So going to a place a second time gives us twice as much time as I have right now. But even locally, just going and knowing the environment, knowing a bit more of like, okay, how am I going to set this up to not make the first time around mistakes, which I've always said in wildlife photography, you need like 3 days, and those days could each be 3 days long, but you need 3 different encounters to really figure it out. The first time is like the one I just had with the wood ducks. Oh, they are here. I'm in a bad spot. I kind of, they know I'm here. They flew around a bit. They came back. They're up in a tree. I need to come here super early, maybe when it's still dark, and just sit for a long time, and maybe I get lucky. So the second time around, you do that. Then you get that, I call it like a B plus shot. Like, oh, that's a really good shot. Very happy. Now it might lend to like, oh, now I've learned being here before sunrise that the sun comes up right over there, which then slowly lights this perch or this log where, hey, if I'm over there and they land there, I'm gonna have a backlit wood duck shot that will be out of this world.
Yeah.
I might I might never get that shot, but now that I have the B plus shot, I can start working for that shot and spending my time just hoping that that moment happens. It may not, or it may. So going to Alaska a second time, going through my photo, oh, I'm so an orca. Oh, I took a photo, and then you go to edit it, and you're like, I'm looking down on it, or super far. I didn't get any ones that are like great that really blow me away.
The guy sees killer whales and is ungrateful.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I got the C plus range photo. I would like to get the B plus photo. Now, if we're in a boat where we're at water level and they're doing that spying,
Spyometry.
and we're yes, and we take that photo and it's a good background or distance, whatever it may be. Like it might just up it a little bit, and we're prepared based on a different sort of positioning. So we're getting ready with like a different positioning to hopefully get a
Yeah.
better photo or a better moment. Us knowing some
Yeah.
spots. We're not going to drive around as much aimlessly. We might go to that beach with that awesome teepee where those eagles were. Like we might just go straight there and see what's up. We just know a few places, the hillside where we saw the moose. We could kind of make those rounds with a little bit more direction than just kind of aimlessly seeing what's up. Like you said, the buffet and seeing what's up.
Yeah.
We can try to actually go for certain things.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about is accepting that building up to that A plus shot. It comes in stages. It has to. I think this. I felt susceptible to this. We're thinking that I would be disappointed if I didn't have the best moments or what I had hoped for originally. And it took a big mindset shift to understand that, okay, this is your first time here. This is really just like you get what you get. This is a recon thing. Be happy with C's and B plus shots. It's just natural.
Mhm.
What came to mind as you were talking was the first time I ever shot a hummingbird. It was just sitting there. I was like, oh, okay, I shot a hummingbird just existing. I want to get it with its tongue out, sipping nectar. Okay, I got that. That's cool. Now I want one in the rain. Now I want one shaking off. You have to build upon it and understand that you can't skip right to the A plus shot. You got to start in the in the beat up car, the beat up 1982 Toyota, whatever, before you can drive the car that you really want. You got to work towards it, I guess is what I'm saying. And it's easy for us to think, okay, we spent a ton of money on going to this place, and it's Alaska. It's supposed to be epic. There's supposed to be animals running around, and I'm going to get such good shots. And I think when you set the bar too high, even if you are an experienced photographer in a new setting, you are to some extent a rookie, and you need to be okay with getting okay shots and not getting frustrated about it, and understanding that it's a process and it takes time. And this goes for any genre, right?
Yeah.
So I like your analogy of I'm going to build up to it and just thinking about, okay, what's next? More. And then I think naturally, if you have that almost like a level of greediness creative greediness, you'll naturally focus your time and your attention on those super specific, hyper specific shots or scenes that you want.
Yeah, really well said. I think that's very true, and goes for any place local also.
For
Like
sure.
I think, and I've fallen into the trap of I'm going to jump around from state park to state park to state park to state park to state park. Someone saw a bobcat here. I'm going to go to that state park. Someone saw a bear here. I'm going to go to that state park and just look around. Versus, like there is where the wood ducks are. There's a water source right down the street. There's a lot of woods there. There's wood ducks. There's fox in there. There's owls in there. Know that place like the back of your hand. Go there over and over and over, the same time a day, over and over again. Then if it sucks, shift your time of day and see if that's better. If you like that time of day, keep going, keep finding out. Animals are creatures of habit. They they do a lot of the same stuff, especially now in this time of year with like nesting and young. They're going to be going to the same places over and over and over again. They're going to get into their habits where they look for food, where they nest, where they fly around, play, whatever it may be. They're going to keep doing it. And if you're in that area quietly long enough, you start to learn and you start to figure out what's going to go on here. Oh, this wood duck lands on that perch every freaking day. I'm across the pond. This shot sucks. However, every day at 8:30, this wood duck lands on this thing for 5 days in a row now. So where am I going to be on day 6? On the other side of the pond, looking at that branch and having a great opportunity. Maybe it doesn't come, but maybe it does come 3 days later, and I'm there every day waiting for that moment. You know what I mean? So it's like you're learning where these good shots are, and it does take time. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you go for a hike and you find an owl and you take some great photos. But that's far, few, and in between.
I think all this pertains to all genres of photographers too. You work with the same model, you understand them better. You work with the same product, you understand the features better, or how it best looks on certain surfaces. So obviously, you and I always caveat this because you and I are primarily wildlife outdoors guys, but it applies across genres. So if wildlife photography isn't your thing or nature photography isn't your thing, I hope you can see the parallels, especially in the analogy you used of the grading system, C+, B+, working your way up to it and not, assuming that you're getting those A+ shots right away. The other thing I've noticed and I want to become better at is every time I think that I've shot a ton of footage, like I've got a lot of video and film, it's never enough. So always shoot a little bit more. It's just like, and shoot more. If you're interested in video, film more of the stuff that is seemingly uninteresting, but that is integral to the story. Just mundane things. For example, let's say in a sauna, just the thermometer, a stationary shot of the thermometer, like that's useful. Boring as hell, but useful. I mean, people who are experienced filmmakers are like, yeah, of course. I'm not particularly one of those. It's just what I'm learning. I can tend to get drawn into, I'm gonna film the moose that's moving, and just fill the frame with the moose, as opposed to get some in tights of the hooves, get the ears flicking, get some detail, because what you're looking at is so mesmerizing and fascinating and interesting. Regardless of what genre you're shooting, whatever interests you, that you can get sucked in too much and forget to, I guess this applies to photography too, you can forget to just get your filler pieces, your filler photographs or your filler footage.
Your B-roll essentially.
And it's not even necessarily B-roll sometimes. It's just a mundane clip that is helping follow the A storyline. So just something to consider, whether you're thinking photo or video. More so with video, I've found is just when you think you have enough, maybe film a little more and spend a lot of time filming crappy stuff. I say crappy, I mean like boring, not the exciting stuff. If you plan on trying to put together some kind of long form, I mean, even short form for that matter, is beneficial when you have stuff that makes the story glue together.
Yeah, like 20 seconds of long grass blowing in the wind. Like it's hard to think about that stuff when there's an eagle there and the ocean there, but it does add to the story, especially if you're putting something together. So
because you're like, oh my, is this eagle going to do something? I'm going to miss it. Well, the grass is doing really cool. Would look really cool. Slow down at 120.
Yeah.
120 frames, right? So, just stuff to think about. Like I can't tell you how much footage I have of bears in just swimming in water, which is like, sounds really cool, but I have too much.
Right.
Should have maybe focused on some other things.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Because you can only use in that story, maybe 1 or 2 clips. That's like,
right. Which is a good thing. Okay. Which is it's a good argument for having a shot list too, which I think I'm going to make this time around. got that, I can focus on the other things to avoid getting sucked in.
Yeah.
Now, I don't typically use shot lists or have that in my mind the first time I'm at a place. Maybe I should. I do my research and I just try to film everything I see. Now
Mhm.
I'd like to be a little bit more hyper specific, and
Yeah.
I think having a list before going in will help me to really fill some holes.
I think it's a good idea.
You know?
Yeah. So that's looking forward to our trip. And I thought it was curious or interesting how we're going to approach it differently than before.
Yeah, and I mean,
We have the same van, so I'm definitely bringing a lumbar support.
yeah, I mean, it's just interesting, and I think people can maybe institute some of the things we've talked about their second, third, or fourth time around on a scene, on a trip, or to a place they've already been, location they've already been, and really start asking yourself those questions. Okay, how can I make my portfolio better? And I guess a good question for you to finish on is, why is that important? Why is it important to have your portfolio even better than it is already? Like, why is it important to keep building a portfolio even if it's already sufficient, in your opinion?
Good question. For me, I can get caught in the patterns of comfort and the patterns of familiarity. So it's a same place. We're doing a very similar trip. I want to be consciously thinking of, okay, what did I have? Were there any holes? Is there any shots that I want to fill? How do I want to spend my time the best here? Do I need more photos of bears in the water? No. Put the camera down and just enjoy the moment then, right? I don't need 50 more of those shots. I think I have an A+ shot of a bear in the water, straight on, really close, really tight. Pretty, like, who sees grizzlies in the water all the time? Not many people. I have that shot. Good. I don't think I need anything more. I mean, of course, I mean, whatever. But I am pretty satisfied with that shot. So
Right.
maybe I don't need the longest lens. Maybe I want more of the environment now. And maybe I want to fill in kind of those holes of like, oh, that's a close up of a bear in water, but what's Alaska look like? I can't tell. This could be at a pool at the zoo. I want to see a bear with the ocean or mountains behind it or whatever it may be. So thinking of that, like you said specifically, wow, I came away with, 10 eagle shots on a post or a log or whatever it may be. It would be nice if they were flying, or I got some of those shots coming in for landing or fishing or whatever.
And
Some of the
waiting for those moments as opposed to reacting to them, I think.
yeah, and
Yeah.
same with sea life. Like, okay, we got those shots, but how can we make those better? Because I got to tell you that saw awesome sea life and awesome moments and really beautiful, what a day on the water that was. But there weren't a ton of photos. I was like, I need to edit this. And I would like that feeling of like, I can't wait to edit this photo. It's a beautiful photo
Yeah.
versus just the excitement of like getting the photo. Now it's the next step. It's that next step of like, okay, we know what's here. What photo are you trying to get? Instead of blasting 500 photos, I'm going to blast 100, but they're going to be very calculated.
I will say it's a bad feeling when you're culling hundreds of photos in Lightroom.
No one likes that.
No one likes that. Well, I just mean, especially, I like the idea of, okay, maybe I only have 200 in here and I got rid of 30.
Yeah.
I like that as opposed to I shot 10,000 frames and I've deleted 4,000 of them. 8,000 of them, rather, probably is more realistic. I don't think I've ever shot 10,000 frames in a go. That seems aggressive, but
because of the ease of it, it's too easy to, like, again, okay, there's that. I think it was like, I mean, it's a structure. It looks like the skeleton of a teepee. Seagulls on it. Got the photo in a couple different ways, as tight as I could. The mountains in the back. Composed it the way I wanted to. Okay. It's really like 3 or 4 photos that I really liked when I went through them and was like, I would edit that one, and that one. And then there's probably 100 where I just was like randomly clicking the same photo out of compulsion or ease or whatever it may be. And then you're like, why? Why? Versus like waiting or enjoying it or being patient or chatting with you or some of our other guests and just kind of waiting for a moment, which sometimes you miss. And that's part of it. Even as ready as you can possibly be, it's pretty easy to miss photos. But I think that's more of the point of like sometimes we compulsively just keep taking the photo of the bear or the eagle or the moose because it's there and we're super excited. And that's fun and great. But I think going into it a bit more consciously of like, is this a C plus photo? Then I don't need it. I could just experience this animal and be quiet. Is it a B plus photo? Okay, I might take it. Is it an A plus photo? I'm going to give it my full attention.
Yeah, and this is instituting mindfulness in an exciting scenario.
Yeah. I got to say, the first time around in Alaska, I don't think I was even thinking about A plus photos. It was like the excitement, C plus, like whatever I see that's new to me, awesome. And some are really good. Just
by
based
pure
on
chance.
Yeah, by pure chance, and like it worked out, and that's awesome. Great. Let's keep those. That's great. But there are no super thought out. I guess our best opportunity for like a thought out shot was probably that eagle or the bear swimming around our boat. You know, like you can figure out what you want to do, but that eagle on that beautiful landscape at that kind of night and that lighting was a lucky moment for us. But I think in terms of like, okay, we have some time. It seems to just be perched here. We have some time to compose a really good shot, get the lighting perfect, make some video, take some photos, and go with it. That was more relaxed in terms of we're going to try to get a good photo here.
Yeah.
Which was fun.
It's slowing down in exciting moments, which is hard to do. But it comes with practice.
Practice. So. All right.
Good time with you today, man. If you like what you hear, rating and review on Apple's podcast and Spotify is a cost-free, effective way to support the show, and we would be super grateful as always. Till next time, my friend.
Take care.